Hey, Dreaming of Diamond, we have my amazing friend, Emerald Ambassador Jessica Radke, and she's going to share with us. I've known Jess for a long time, but we went Emerald together, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, the famous July 2017 rush.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, well, I'm going to put it on gallery view, and we're going to let you just take it away.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, thank you. First of all, I don't know if you guys caught Miss Sadie on the corp call today, but crushed it. I always love like a name that I have come. I'm like, I'll watch that. So anyways, nice job. And thank you guys so much for having me. I was trying to think of too, whenever I do these, which isn't super often, but I'm always like, when did I meet that person? And I feel like that's probably a good thing that we never really know. Like it always just feels like we've always known each other. So that's kind of a testament to what kind of humans are in Plexus and what kind of friendships can be made. So thank you so much again for asking me, Sadie. It's always great to see you. Little tiny bit about me, just so I'm not a stranger talking to you guys. I live in Hudson, Wisconsin. You'll probably hear a little bit of an accent depending on where you're from. Um, I am married to my high school sweetheart. We have been married for 18 years. I have two kiddos. My kids will start school Monday. So I have a son that will be a junior and a daughter that will be a freshman. So both high school this year, which is just so crazy. But they are sports people, busy and all of that. So I have one driving, which is super helpful now. But yes, I spend a lot of the time in the car as well. So I've been doing Plexus for almost 10 years. My upline is Emily Finnell. For those of you guys that know her, I went to college with her, and that's kind of how I got involved into Plexus. So when I asked Sadie what she wanted me to talk about, it's like not my least favorite, but my most scary when people are like, whatever you want. Because then I feel like my brain's like, ting, 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 like what do I want people to hear? So I always say a prayer and I always just say, like, I just start like typing. I type everything because I can't read my handwriting, but I just am like, okay, help me share something that whoever's on this call needs to hear. So I hope this is purposeful for you. I hope that I always feel like there's just a million things that I want to share or talk about. So I'll try and rein it in, have like some sort of, I was an elementary teacher also in my past life before I did Plexus. So I do have somewhat of a note and agenda. So if I get super off track, Sadie, just smack me around and tell me we got to keep going. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about two things, kind of sticking the course and how this job can be so amazing, but it can also be such a roller coaster and such a huge journey. So, kind of talking about different seasons of life, different seasons of business, and then also when you're in those seasons, like kind of how to get out of it, but also how to use really our God-given gifts and talents to lean into continuing to build ourself and our business and our life really to keep moving forward. So like I said, I started almost 10 years ago. I'm like, when I think about how little my kids were, I'm like at our last convention, our team was like, my bigger team was like, oh my gosh, our kids really have like grown up together in Plexus. It's crazy. Just how little they were. So my oldest son was pretty sick when he was little. So I won't go into huge details, but he had like 6 sets of ear tubes, tonsils and adenoids, 105, 106 tree fevers for like weeks at a time. And I was a teacher at the time. I was a fixer. I had an infant as well. And my husband was starting his own business. So it was just a very busy season of life. But I wanted to find answers for him. Like every medical doctor we went to, which I think there's a point and a time and a place for medical doctors, absolutely. But they weren't, I feel like, listening to me. And I really felt like in my mom gut, like there's something different that we're either doing or not doing that could help him or make him better. So we prayed a ton about that and ended up finding a really good naturopath doctor. And at that very same time, Emily, who was my good friend or friend in college, I would say, now very good friend, but yeah, came to me and kept saying plexus, plexus, plexus. And I was like, oh, hell no. Like, I'm not that, like, and no one up here had heard of it. Like, no one knew what plexus was up here. So I'm like, then I'm even more of a weirdo because I'm like online sharing about this stuff that I think is going to make me skinny. Like, I just knew nothing about it. So, I was a hard no on that, but like how do you say that? Like on the parallel path, kind of, we were talking with this naturopath and she was talking to us all about gut health and like changing his diet and supplementing and all of the same things that Emily was like, I didn't know that's what plexus was. So it was total God thing that it all ended up working out. He completely changed his health really quickly. And at that point I was like, you know what? I'm not feeling so good after going through all of that. So I caved and went back into Emily and I was like, okay, I'll do it, but I'm not going to share. But then I shared and here I am 10 years later, still sharing. So we all kind of know how that goes. But I think during that time, I was like, okay, I knew I was going to be done teaching. It wasn't like, oh, Plexus came in and I'm like going to quit teaching for Plexus. It was just too much for me at that time. And like everything that was going on in our life, I'm like, it just didn't make sense. But I was terrified because I'm a doer. So I was like, all right, man, like if I'm not teaching, like what, but I didn't want a job either, but I still wanted to make money because I like to shop. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll be a dog walker. Maybe I'll be a mystery shopper. Like I literally was Googling all these things. Well, again, Plexus, I had no idea could come into my life and be my full-time job. So that's kind of where I ended up. I was excited for something new. Once I got a paycheck and like started feeling that I was actually helping people do better, which I think a lot of teachers go into it for that, but never really see the benefit of that until 10 years later. And they write you a letter and they're like, thanks so much. You're like, oh, that would have been good to know during the time. But anyway, so I think it was like, okay, I'm kind of understanding this is where I'm supposed to be. So I built a team pretty quickly up to Emerald. But then it was like, I feel like as I started, it was very much like, this is easy for me. It came easy for me. It was natural. It was like, but I was not learning the things that I needed to be learning. And I was just doing what everyone else was doing, if that makes sense. So it was like, it didn't feel the best for me. It was like, okay, yeah, we hit Emerald, but I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I don't know, like, now what do we do? So it was a very exciting time in my life to get there, but I think the way that I did it did not feel good to me. So we ended up sliding back and I had to basically rebuild my entire team. And during that time, it was like the most fruitful, hard, awesome, like all of the emotional things. But I knew better what I was looking for and I knew better what I didn't do the first time. And I'll kind of get into leaning into that in a little bit. But so then we ended up re-ranking in whatever it was. It was incredible. Like that to me was like, okay, like we did it correctly. Like I have people that have the buy-in that understand like why we're doing this, that we're helping people. And it was just like the highest of the high. Like it was so exciting. I'm like, okay, we're doing this my way. Like I love everything about it. And then I lost my mom, gosh, almost 4 years ago now. This is the worst time of my life ever. I'm not going to talk about that for a long time or I'll start crying still. But, and then shortly after I had a really, really close friend and business partner that just stopped working the business. So, I went like from way up here to like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like back to like the dog walking and mystery shopper because it just sounded easier. I was like, I don't know if I was meant for this. And that's when like the whole comparison would creep in and be like, all of these people are doing it and tough stuff's happening in their life. What's wrong with me? Why am I not good enough? Why am I not doing this good enough? I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I was like in a complete, like, woe is me. So if you know me, any of you guys, you know that I don't allow myself to sit there well. It's actually something I'm working on. But I'm like, no, like you've worked too hard to get to where you need to be. I was super thankful for my amazing team at that point in time. I stopped a lot. I prayed a lot. I was like, all right, you need to help me. Like, if I'm going to do this again, I need to like, again, enjoy it and like be given a purpose and a reason for me to continue to do this and continue to lead people. Through that, I feel like it always was, I compare it to my kids. Like my kids are always watching me. If I don't do something that I say I'm going to do, like that's a big deal to me. I want them to be dependent on me. And I had a team. I did have a team of people, I still do, that are working so, so hard. So to me, I'm a very loyal friend. I'm a very loyal person. I'm like, okay, if you crap the bed, like if you're out of here, that sucks. It's not even just you, that's everyone else. So I love this business for that. It's like you, I mean, yes, you can quit, but you really can't. If you really love what you do and the people that you work with, you really aren't given that option. So I really feel like my only option was to like shift again and be like, okay, how can I re-enter into here again? So I prayed a ton about why. Like when I got started, why was it so fun for me? What was I doing? What did I feel like was the reason why I was there? Because I think sometimes when we do this for so long, it's like, oh yeah, this is what we do, right? Like we wake up, we do our pays, and we make a post, and we have events, and it just becomes so like part of our routine that we're not even, A, we're not enjoying it, and B, I should say me, I was not enjoying it, and B, like, it just, it wasn't fulfilling me, I guess, because I wasn't doing things that were making me excited and happy anymore. So I had to figure out why. I had to figure out what I wanted to do. And then the other thing was like, I talked a ton about, like, in my head, what I should be doing to get there, what I think I should be doing. I'm looking at other teams, I'm doing all these other things. That was awful, because I'm like, no, I have to think about what I want to do. And when I'm saying this to you guys, I'm like, I'm thinking of all the peaks. If you're brand new, if you're just starting, if you've been in it forever, it's like, keep reminding yourself. So there's two things that I want you guys to think about, no matter where you're at your business right now. What brings you joy in this business? Like, truly, what brings you joy? Like, what are you, like, excited to wake up for the next day to do with Plexus? And if you say nothing, that's okay, because I've been there too. But how are we going to get back to that, I guess? And if you're there where you're like, I don't know what brings me joy, think about what used to bring you joy. Like, why did I used to really, really enjoy this? Or what you feel like you could be doing to help bring joy into your business. And the second thing I want you guys to think about is, what truly are your gifts and strengths that you can focus on moving forward to be your best self. So we hear a ton, like, keep your blinders on. It's really hard in this business because we're online all the time. So it's like, as I'm scrolling, oh, there's another person that's doing this. Should I be doing this? Should I, should our team be doing this? Should we? It's just that constant. It's like, no, we need to do what we're good at. I need to lead my team with my strengths of what I'm good at. So I want you guys to think about those two things. And really, when I was thinking about this, I think there's a lot of women, especially, that are like, I'm not good at anything. Like, I can't think of something, like, I don't have a gift. So if you're in that space, I want you to call 3 people tonight or tomorrow, or reach out to them that are your very people, like your close people, and say, what am I good at? What do you think I'm good at? Because sometimes we don't even see our gifts in ourselves. Sometimes we're so, like, caught up in everything that's going on. It's like, and that's hard for us to say, oh my God, I'm so good at, like, nobody wants to be that person either, but everybody is good at something, everybody. So I want you to think about those two things, reach out and ask somebody. And with that being said, moving forward, it's like, we have to remember that no two teams are the same. And I truly think Plexus has, like, evolved in this greatly. If I'm being completely honest, when I first started, it was like when I went through sorority rush, I'm like, I'm not going to make a house because I'm not blonde. Like, that's literally what I felt like. I was like, I don't look like them. And I don't, like, I just don't, I have a lot of different things, but I also think that's good. I think we all come with our gifts and everybody's working together. So I've seen a huge shift in that since the beginning of Plexus, where, like, whoever is up there standing, men, women, I mean, people from everywhere are like, no, this is how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it because I like doing it. And that shines through. And that's where the beauty of your team growing comes from. Um, so maybe you're good at organizing, good at graphics. Maybe you're good at planning events. Maybe you're like, all of that sucks. Maybe you really like speaking in front of people. Maybe that's terrifying. Like, all of these are versatile. So I just think, like, you need to think, what am I good at, and really lean into that. Emily's been really good in her coaching with me about that, because she's like, you don't want to do a freaking coaching call with someone, don't do it. Well, if you don't send them to me, that's what she likes to do. And then she's like, plan a freaking party. That's what you like to do. Like, plan events, go to lunches with people, be personal with people, have, we have an event coming up this week where everyone's bringing school supplies, everybody bring your kids. Like, I love that kind of stuff. That's what gets me excited. So those are the kind of things I've had to kind of lean back into. And I encourage you guys to do the same too. I promise I'll wrap this up. Am I going too long, Sadie? Okay. All right. I'll be done in 1 minute. So just,
Okay, I could listen to you. I'm interrupting you. I could listen to you forever.
I
You're
know.
like one of my favorite people on this entire planet. So
Sadie,
continue.
I love you too. Okay. So I just, after I'm like, okay, now that you guys have had some time, or you will have some time to identify those gifts, I just want to give, like, some reminders of when I was, like, in my highs and lows of, like, as I was reflecting what I was looking back at, that really truly helped me to, like, keep going and still be here to this day and not be like, I'm out of here. So we always hear, get back to the basics, right? Like, I don't love that, but I also am like, why did I get started? Like, literally, that's why it was like, Sadie blue. Yeah, I'm a little blue. Um, so caring about people truly was what got me, like I said, into teaching. And I was like, that's what kept me going in the beginning, was like, someone would write back and be like, hey, I slept better last night. Or I don't want to say, like, littlest of things, but it's like, I think we get to these huge things. Then again, it's like, oh, their person lost 100 pounds in 3 days and my person just started pooping. Like, what's wrong with me? So it's like, and it's getting back to that. In the beginning, I didn't have anything to compare it to. I didn't know. So every little thing that anyone said to me that is why they were feeling better or why they wanted to start sharing it was like the biggest celebration of all time. It was like, oh my gosh, that's so incredible. Keep going. Keep sharing with people. That's my biggest, I would say, downfall is when I'm not in a high place in my business. It's hard for me to say, come do this with me. And I think that is when you need people to come do it with you. So I had to flip my switch on that and say, like, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to say? We're trying to be Emerald again, or we're like, no one cares about that. They don't even know what you're talking about. Come hang out with us. We're super fun. We're a really great group of women that support each other and just that community piece of it. So don't make it about you. If people say no, just share. If they're not ready, move on. I still have people 10 years later that are like, okay, maybe tell me a little bit about it. It's like, really? Really? For 10 years? But some people, it's just, they're not in that season either, and that's okay. No team is too big or too small to accomplish something. So I do not have a single jewel on my team, and we have held Emerald steadily until just recently, if I'm being completely honest, for 5 years. But I have one ruby, and all the rest are below that. But I have people that show up consistently every single time that we do something. To me, I would take a million of those over the ones that are jewels that maybe aren't showing up or doing things. You know what I mean? Obviously, ideally, you would like all of the above. But as you're continuing to grow your team, I think I took that to heart sometimes. Well, I'm never going to get to where I need to be because I don't have jewels on my team. I just don't think that. I believe now that I'm building jewels on my team, and that's part of my continuing to come back and be there for my people is because I'm not giving up on them. So we talked a little about building a community. I just think everyone's welcome, nothing's expected, and everything's appreciated. Like, that's so huge, especially I think with women. We do a lot that goes underappreciated. So I think the more you can shout your people out, the more you can be there for them, the more you can just get excited for the littlest things, even for them. Like, hey, I added a new VIP today. That's incredible. That might be a really, really big deal for somebody. And again, easy for us to get sucked back into, well, yeah, well, so-and-so added 10, well, good for them. I'm working on one right now. Good for you. So, all right. Not giving up. We talked about that. Keeping blinders on, using your gifts. I'm just going through my notes, so I don't miss anything, you guys. Just using Plexus as a vehicle. I think sometimes it's easy for us to get sucked into points and rank and trips and what we're earning and incentives. And that's when I do the worst. Like, when I literally am like, I don't care about any of that. And I think it's important to be aware. Don't get me wrong. I mean, checking in on your things, but just not focusing on that every day for me is like, who am I going to help today? Who can I cheer on today? What can I do to lift someone else's spirits up today? For me, like, when I do that, my points go up. They just do, because people are happy and they want to come back and they want to be with you and they want to work with you. So lastly, you guys, I just want to say, I feel like this company is such a blessing, and so is this industry that we're in. Like, I think sometimes that can get lost as well, especially during my mom stuff. Like, if I was teaching during that time, you guys, I don't know how many prayers I said. If I was making lesson plans during that time and having to get substitutes and like, it would have been an absolute wreck. I'm so forever thankful that I could look at my team and be like, I can't do anything right now. Like, I'm trying to get out of bed in the morning right now. And they're like, yep, we got you, because they knew it. That was important to them. And it had nothing to do with continuing to make a paycheck. It was just that load of like, wow, like, we're all here for each other. If something happens like that, to me, that's like, I don't care if I'm a frigging triple diamond team. Like, that meant everything to me, that we could have that company and that surrounding, just people surrounding us that take care of us. So that was a huge gift to me. So yeah, that's all I got. I feel like I kind of rambled a little bit, so sorry, but no.
You didn't. You are just
No.
stop talking about my friend this way, because you're amazing. And you guys, Jess, you're probably talking to the funnest person in Plexus. I mean, this is who this is. Like, she is my fun friend. So anyways, we thank you. We needed to hear this. I'm so thankful that you prayed because I know that someone who is hearing this live and someone who will listen to the replay needed exactly what you shared.
Hopeful. Yeah.
And I love that. Does
Well, thank
anyone
you
have
guys.
any questions? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said thank you. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I'll answer questions for sure.
does anyone have anything? That we're not major question
That's
askers.
all right.
I keep holding out hope that we.
No judgment here. Hey, it's not your strength. Okay. Oh, I love your accent. Yeah. See, I don't know. It's funny because when I went to school in Kansas, I thought Kansas people had a really big accent and then they all had the same accent. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
ye-
Ban and tin and yeah. I'm like, no, we don't talk like that up here, but everyone talked the same. So they made fun of me. I was like, whatever. All right.
You actually sound like, and I'm gonna stop recording really fast.